All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Ultimate Branding Podcast. This is episode number 3, and we're super excited for today's topic. Today's topic is about the process and what does it actually mean to love the process. So this has been a topic that kind of just came about. As some of you might know, we are officially launching the Ultimate Branding course here in the next couple of days. And we were like just in there talking, there's over 105 videos in there. And one of the videos actually had a realization about the process. And a lot of people say, fall in love with the process, fall in love with the journey. And people love to repeat shit, but they don't know what it actually means. All right. Mm-hmm. They don't know what it means when somebody's saying, fall in love with the process, fall in love with the journey. So we wanted to dissect a little bit more of what that means for us, and what are some tips and nuggets that we could give you guys so you guys could start enjoying the process. So while T figures out live over there,
yeah, I got it figured.
I'll start off pretty much from my perspective. Now, loving the process, it's something that has to come when there's progression, right? That was the ultimate nugget, the ultimate key that I thought of. And it was like, why would you ever fall in love with something that you're not progressing at? Right. And I'll give you my perspective, which is when I first started off, in the niche of creating content and all this other stuff. What happens is, and it's not just in my niche, right? What happens is that people start creating, people start doing, and people get excited. They think their shit is dope, all this stuff, but then they realize that it's not. And like I've always said before, either they quit right there and they're like, okay, this is not for me, or they use it as motivation, right? A lot of people, a lot of people don't quit. A lot of people keep going and trying, and we're like, you see a little bit of progress, right? And that's just enough to continue to helping you in the journey.
Right.
But what happens is that you get to a level where progression kind of just starts getting stuck, right? There's a certain things that everybody's good at and that everybody can understand, right? But in order to make money in this, or, specifically my niche, you have to separate yourself from the pack.
Right.
And what happens is that in order to separate yourself from the pack, most people don't do what it takes, or they don't have the skill levels to get to the next level. Right. So when you're going through the process, what everybody knows, then it's time to level up. Either A, you don't level up just because you don't put the time and energy to level up, or B, you don't level up because not that you don't have the capacity, maybe just like that's just not for you.
Right.
That's just not for you. And what happens is that people quit because they're not getting any gigs, they're not getting paid.
Right.
And it's because like, hey, maybe you're not good enough.
Right.
But this is more tailored to the people that have the ability and got better and started getting a little bit of gigs. And I know a lot of people feel the same way, where you're running that race, and it's kind of like I'm at that beginner level. I'm getting a couple gigs, I'm getting a couple clients, and then what happens is that you hear this word, love the process, right? And that's the process that you're going through. And there's going to be moments when it's going to get very tough and you're going to want to quit. Like it's just inevitable. Yeah. Right? There comes moments where you're going to want to quit, and that's okay.
Right.
We all feel that way, right? But the only thing that's going to keep us going is progression.
Right.
Because as long as you see that little extra mile, as long as you see that little extra step, and as long as you see something at the end of the tunnel, that should be enough for you to keep going.
Right.
And the problem is that a lot of people stop seeing progression that way, and they look at it as, I'm getting from where I am now to, 100K a year as a photographer. Right. And it's like, no, you have to understand that there's a progress or a process in there, and without seeing progress, you'll never get there.
Right.
So this is also tailored more into the people. It's like that ask you a question: when is it okay to quit? Right.
Yeah.
Or when is it okay to give up? When is it okay to move on to the next thing?
Yeah.
And I see it as, you should know that something's not for you when you've been busting your ass, and I mean busting your ass like every day, not half-assing it, busting your ass, and you're not seeing any kind of results, right? When you don't see results, well, the market at the end of the day lets you know how good you are.
Right.
They let you know, like, if people are willing to pay what you're charging, then you should keep it there.
Yeah.
If people are not paying what you're charging, then either A, lower your price, and if they're not willing to pay that, then maybe, you know,
should find a new-
you should find a new career.
Right.
You should find a new career. So the point that I want to make is that people have this expression of loving the process, but you can only start to fall in love with that journey when you see a bit of progression
Right.
in whatever it is that you're doing.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I'm kind of like left blank.
No, I mean, that's what. That's
To
what
be
it comes-
honest, like there's nothing else that I can say about the process.
I mean, the process is beautiful.
The process is amazing. The process is beautiful. Here, I'll give you guys more. All right, kind of coming back to me. And by the way, this is why I love this shit, because like I'm gonna be real. Like if something just my mind goes blank, my mind goes blank.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a little bit more about my process and my progress and whatever it is that I'm doing. As people know, I've dominated, the photography video niche has kind of been my thing where I've been going. But if I've been able to separate myself, and the reason why I've been able to stay afloat, financially over the past couple of months, year and a half, is because I have decided to expand my skill sets beyond that level, right? And I have decided to, sometimes if somebody wants a website, like build a website.
Right.
If somebody wants, marketing campaign, build a marketing campaign,
Right.
et cetera, et cetera. And what happens is that in the process of learning to do all these different things, you keep learning new skill sets and keep learning. You open your eyes to a whole new level of whatever that is that you're doing. So,
Right.
for example, like video, photography, websites, and, marketing campaigns, right?
Right.
Each one is a whole different,
Facts.
thing in itself. And what happens is that in that process that I've been going through, when I look at each one of them, I've had to make a decision.
Right.
And be like, hey, do I want to keep being the jack of all trades, or jack of all trades, master of none,
Yeah.
or do I actually want to sit down and target myself? And something that's kind of helped me, narrow that down is, what have I been getting the most gigs about?
Right.
So it's like I've been, offering 5, 6, 7 different services.
Right.
But essentially people always want videos, always want pictures, always want videos, always want pictures.
Right.
So that's helped me kind of understand that, okay, maybe that's my forte. That's what I should keep going.
Right.
And it also like makes sense because it's the one I put the most time into. But it's something that's, kind of helped me with my process and my progress.
Right.
Everybody has their own definition of process or whatever it is that they're going to. And you also have to understand that the process, yes, it is something that lasts forever, because you're never there, right? At least you should never be there, but you should always be able to look back on the road and see some sort of progression and understand that, like, oh, wow, I have to take a moment and realize that, hey, I didn't know this last month. I didn't know this 2 months ago, and now I do know it.
Right.
So, those are just some of the tips, I guess, that I can give people on finding what it is that you need to hammer down.
Right.
So,
No, I mean, if we're gonna talk about like the process, and like for me, the process is a scary thing because it's a true test of like your character. There's more adversity than there is pleasure. I feel like when you're going through something, it's like you're learning more than you're like, you're succeeding. It's like one of those things of trial and error. You're going through so many trials and tribulations that could literally alter, whether you want to keep going that path or you want to, or you just want to quit, like you were talking about. I've learned that, the process is something that you have to become loyal to. It's something that people talk about loving the process, but I think it's more of an infatuation with the process. They like the thought of where they're going to be, but I don't think most people are actually ready for the things that go along with getting there. You know what I mean? They see it like people who want to be an entrepreneur. They're like, oh, it looks all cool. Everybody makes it look all cool on Instagram and shit. They're like, oh, that's, it looks cool. You're like, whatever. But the actual process that it takes to become an actual entrepreneur is so much harder than people think. So the infatuation of the shiny ball syndrome and everything that looks cool is what's make people like, oh, I want to do that, until they get to the grind of actually have to doing things every single day. And that infatuation starts to fade. If you like, compare it to that we talked about, you compare it to like a relationship, it's like the honeymoon phase. You know what I'm saying? Everybody goes through the honeymoon phase of like, with their new like, girlfriend or whatever. They're in that phase like, oh, they're doing everything they're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? They're buying them flowers, taking them out to dinner, taking them to movies, doing little cute little things. But then after a while, you start to get complacent. Things start to get weird, you know what I'm saying? You start to figure out like weird shit about her, you know what I mean? Like, oh, she does this really awkwardly, you know what I'm saying? Oh, she does this, that's annoying, you know what I mean? And so you look at it, now you're like, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? And that's like the same thing comparison to your grind in the process of whatever you're trying to accomplish. Things start to get weird. It's like, okay, I did not expect this. These expectations that you have put out, they're no longer there anymore. They're starting to die off. And so it creates a sort of wall, a barrier. You're like a building block to barriers of like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I don't know if I want to be with this girl anymore. She's kind of weird. She was cute and all this and everything was cool, but now it's getting kind of awkward. I'm getting kind of comfortable and it's just kind of weird. And so that infatuation with the process of whatever it is that you're doing, if you're building a brand, if you're becoming an entrepreneur, if you're doing fitness, it's like you have to be loyal to it. Loving the process. People talk about that all the time. I don't think that's enough. Love is an emotion. As humans, we have different, our emotions change all the time. You know what I'm saying? They change all the time. I know married men who cheat on their wives. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People marry their significant other. People marry the game. People marry the process, but people also cheat on it too. There's grown men out there who cheat on their wives all the time. They're not loyal to the process. There's a point where you have to be loyal to the process, not in love with the process, but loyal to it enough to where that you're going to stick by it through all the bullshit, through all the shit that you do not expect, through all the hardships, through everything, because you're so loyal to, because you know what's going to happen if you stay loyal. Because at the end of the day, loyalty brings forth royalty. So whatever it is, if you want to be royal in love, if you want to have royalty in actual monetary gain, if you want to have royalty in spiritual gain, loyalty brings forth royalty. So if you are loyal to the process, no matter how long it takes, and the process, just like you said, the process, it takes forever. It's a never get there. It's a never ending process. Yep. You're always striving. Especially if you're someone who's never satisfied. If you're a true entrepreneur, if you're a businessman or whatever, or if you're doing fitness, you're really never satisfied with your look. You're like, I can do this better. I can do this better. I can do this better. And that's where loyalty comes in, because loyalty never fades. Someone who's truly loyal to whatever it is, their craft, business, whatever, that will never fade. Love can fade. Passion, that can go away. You can lose passion for something. These are emotions. Loyalty is not an emotion. Loyalty is either you are or you aren't. You know what I mean? And so that's really my take on the process, and like finding that loyalty for it, finding it, finding that loyalty in a way where it's like, I don't ever want to do you wrong. I don't ever want to do my grind wrong because I know what I'm going to get from it. I don't ever want to do this person wrong because I know at the end of the day what they can provide for me. So if you're grinding and you're loyal to the process, you fall, like, you're by default, if you're loyal to something, by default you're going to fall in love with it.
Yep.
And so if you be loyal first, the love will follow, the passion will follow, the infatuation will fade, and the lust will fade, and that's where the in love takes place. And now you're no longer, in love with the process. You're actually married and dedicated and loyal and seeking growth with the process.
Yeah. So, I mean, what happens is, like, people put the process, like, they always say, like, love the process, right? And it's just facts. Like, it's just true. There's no way that you can get to the end. People have to understand that no matter what you want to do, look, this is the best way for me to paint this picture. I've always said, like, people say, hey, if you want to take the leap of faith in business and, like, you want to quit your job, you should save up 6 to 12 months of money, so that way that, you're going to be good. Right. And off the bat, when I hear that, I'm like, they already lost. They already lost the process because of the fact that they think that they only need 6 months to a year to make this shit work. Facts. And it's like, why is it that we, for everything in life, no matter what profession, no matter what you want to do, you always say, even when you're small, your parents tell you, it's going to be 4, 5, 6, 7 years before you can get, the job that you want or get into the profession that you want. If you want to be a doctor, right? Think about this. The jobs that pay the most are the ones that take the most time in school studying, right? Facts. Right. But the ultimate job that actually pays the ultimate most which is entrepreneurship, which is starting your own business, which is being, you know, an operator of a business, right? It's going to take that's the highest level of income, right? The income that you can make is unlimited, right? You can build your dream job. You can do whatever it is that you want to do, right? But people want to think that it takes the least amount of time and that it takes the least amount of work.
Right.
Like, put that into perspective, right? It's like, why are we so patient with everything else in life instead of being patient, like, in our business or in our brand, right? Like, this is called the Ultimate Branding Podcast. Let's tailor this more to you know, to put it for you guys in a branding perspective, right? We did a 105 video course.
It's going to answer your question about how to grow your social media. Go ahead.
All right. So
we literally made a whole course over this 100+ videos.
Yeah.
8 hours long. Like, it's long as shit. And so go ahead, DP, my phone. Cut you off.
You're good. So wait, where was I?
You're talking about the course and how, like, we were on the branding.
Oh, yeah. So the course, we're talking about branding, right? And there's a little secret in there that we left for you guys, and we'll leave that for the people that, you know, purchase it. But the point is that, most people are going to buy the course and not finish it. That's the first thing. And we'll give you a little snippet. At the end, we've set up a 90-day goal plan, right? That's what it's called?
Game plan,
yeah, 90-day game plan. So it's like, by the end, by like video number 80, you've watched, you pretty much have all the nuggets that you need, and you have the 90-day game plan. But what happens is that most people will never even get to get into that 90 game plan because they don't have the patience to go through everything and understand that there is so many steps and so many things that you have to do to get to where you want to get. How to grow your social media, that's a question that it doesn't start off with how to grow your social media. It starts off with how can I grow myself? How can I grow myself first? The only way, if you look at the people that are, you know, growing on social media, is because they have something to offer. Whether it's offering their looks, whether it's offering entertainment, or whether it's offering you know, it's either entertaining or educating. And if you're not a person who's entertaining, meaning you're funny, or, you know, I guess entertainment can be these days, you know, posting your ass cheeks or some shit like that. If you're not doing none of that, the only other thing that you can do is educate people and try to educate people in an entertaining way. And you know what's the only way you can educate people? By having some sort of value, by having something to offer, by understanding the craft, by mastering something. And the only way that you get there is by having the patience and pushing through and learning the skill sets that you need to learn in order to offer something into the world. Something that people neglect is like, oh, I'm a car salesman, or I'm a dentist, or I'm a doctor, or I'm whatever I am. I shouldn't be on social media. Yes, you can. Because guess what? All of your doctor friends and all of your, you know, car salesman friends are all on social media as well. And who says that you can't become the guy in that niche to do whatever it is? But it's like, in order to own that niche, in order to own that in social media, you have to understand that most of the work happens off social media, right? You have to be somebody off social media, and you actually have to understand things. A lot of people want to offer and want to grow a following that have nothing to offer. And I don't know who the person is. I'm not saying that they don't or they do, but it's just having internal realization. And maybe you are somebody who's already capable. Maybe you are somebody who's already built a career that's been successful in whatever it is niche that you're doing. And you know what? That makes you ahead of the game. It makes you be ahead of the curve. What happens is that now, you know, when you want to start creating content, you know what the fuck you're talking about. You're not faking it. You're not building this persona, right? About, oh, I'm this type of person. I'm this. And it's like, no, I'm talking my truth. I'm talking my, you know, I'm being my authentic self, and I'm giving people value in what they need, right? And by default, you'll grow on social media because people see you as a person, you know. Hey, I always tell people this. I always tell people this. Think about when you're going to follow somebody, right? How hard is it for you to press the follow button? Incredibly hard. You're like, do I really want to follow this person? And it's something that it's not really a big deal. Like, dude, you're following on like it's not really a big deal, but we make it such a big deal, right? But the problem is that we think that everybody should come to our page and follow us, yet every time we want to follow somebody, we go through these 10 questions in our head, like, should I really follow this person? What is this person offering? Is this person good looking? Right? But we never do that same analysis for us.
Yourself, yeah.
We never go onto our page or our social platform or wherever we are and be like, hey, why should I follow myself?
Right.
What am I doing?
Right.
And this only applies to the people that, again, want to grow on social media, people that want to grow a platform. Because if you want to go on there and, just post for your friends and do this and that, like, that's totally fine too.
Right.
But this is for people that want something better. This is
Right.
for people that want to build a brand online. So it's like, I know it's kind of all over the place, but that's shit I got to say.
That shit was valuable. Like I said, you guys, the course that we created, it's like literally, it's going to be $25. Like, it's not going to be anything crazy. Like, we put in a lot of time on this course. We wanted to make it affordable. We don't want to hit people over the head like some crazy ass amount, but $25, you're like, for all these questions that you're asking, they're going to be answered on there as well. But, to answer your question on social media, it's literally, it's being, it's being yourself at the end of the day, and being relatable, and being, allowing yourself to interact with others and engage with others and build a community for yourself. And that's ultimately how you're going to grow your social media. There's really nothing more to it than that. It's a very, very simple process. A lot of people like to skip the process. And so they make it a lot harder. They're looking for shortcuts for everything that they do. There's no shortcut to growing your social media. There's absolutely no shortcut to growing your social media.
It's doing all the shit you already know you have to do that you haven't fucking been doing.
Exactly. Because a lot of you guys already know, if you ask the question, like, how do I do my social media? You already know what to do. You know what I mean? You know, you got to get,
post more content, get better content, engage with people,
invest in the, the tools necessary to, to get valuable content, and then post and be consistent. It's a job. You know what I mean? It's a job.
Dude, that goes today. All right. So today, all right. Here, point the camera at me.
Yeah.
All right. So today we're at the gym and this guy literally asked T the same exact question.
Yeah.
I was going to turn this into a whole separate podcast, but fuck it. I'm just saying it right now.
Right.
All right. This is the main problem. First off, whoever's asked that question, ask yourself, why do I want to grow on social media, right? Because you're asking how to grow social media, right? But take a step back. Why do I want to grow on social media, right? And it's probably because, A, you want more exposure, for people to see you, to build a following, so you can someday maybe sell them some shit and live off social media and build some sort of influence, right? But the problem is that people want to build an influence, that people want to live off social media, and people want to do all the things that they see other people doing, but what they don't realize is that they're treating it like they want social media to pay them like a job, but they don't want to work on it like they have a job. So it's like, how do you expect for social media to be a platform that replaces your 40-hour work week income when you're only working on it 2 hours a week?
Facts.
There's just no way that's going to happen. So first thing, that's why they say, like, hey, it's a grind. It's a process. If you work 40 hours a week, well, guess what? You still have like 80 hours left in a week.
Facts.
Take 40 of those and invest them into social media. Work double. Don't you want to do that? Isn't that what you want to do? But no, the problem is that you're making bullshit excuses on why you can't do it. Maybe you should stop making excuses on why you can't do it and be like, you know what? Fuck it. This is what I want to do. I got to do what I have to do. And it's going to be better to work 80 hours a week, right? Doing 40 for somebody else and doing 40 for yourself. Because at some point, this one, if you do it right, social media is going to replace the other income. And imagine now going 80 hours a week on yourself.
Right.
What the potential can be.
Right.
It's limitless. So the problem is that, like, again, I want to express this. Stop treating social media like a part-time thing and expect it to pay you like a part-time gig.
Right.
All right. Because I honestly can say a lot of my traffic, a lot of my business comes off of social media. People hit me up in DMs all the time. That's how I've booked shoots. I've closed $5,000 deals off of social media. Right. But I've also been treating it like that. I've been engaging with people at all levels. It doesn't matter who you are. Right. The problem is that a lot of people too, you know what? They think they're too big for the little things.
Right.
And when you become too big for the little things become too big for you.
Right.
All right. And what happens is that, you think to yourself, somebody comments on your post, somebody asks you a question in the DM and you don't even take the time to respond.
Right.
You don't take the time. Imagine if somebody, what social media, how I treat it like? I treat it like a real human being relationship. Right. If somebody asks you a question in person, would you just ignore them and not respond to them? Yeah. Are you going to tap them and hit them with a high five that's a like and leave? No, you're going to answer their question in person, right? If somebody slides in your DM and they ask you a question or they give you a comment, you know what you do? Liking is not a response. Yeah. Saying thank you and putting some emojis or something, that's a response. That's engagement. That goes a long way. So if you want to build your social media, you want to do those things, do the little things. Do the little things.
No, definitely. I mean, that's what it came down to. Because like the dude, he literally, it's funny because we were. It's funny that we talk about this now because we literally were at the gym, and our course goals are all this. But we were at the gym, and yeah, he did came up to me and he's like, "How do I build my following online, etc." And it was just interesting to see. Like I'm like, yo, like I've done. This is a job. Like I mean, you see us here. You know what I'm saying? This is content that we're creating for our brands. You know what I'm saying? You see me and DP go out and go shoot all the time to get content. Now I'll be at the gym. I literally invested money into this gym. I get my money, but it's like it's a part of my business. See, a lot of people would see this as I'm not doing this. I'm not paying that for this. I'm like, but you guys don't see it like the way I see it. This is a place where I can get content. Like DP pays X amount of dollars here. This is overhead for his business. See, this all is for social media. Like these mics.
This is a non-tangible
these mics,
investment.
this camera, $20 worth of equipment. You know what I'm saying? I invested in the gyms. I invested in my time. Whatever to get my body right. This is an investment. Your social media is an investment. It's not just a platform to where you're just sharing shit. You know what I mean? If you want to make money off, begin to treat it like an empire and a platform where you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars. You will get paid accordingly. But until you do that, you will not. You know what I mean? Like for the past for the past 2 years, I've made a lot of money off social media, but then I've also went broke off, and not taking advantage of it, not taking it it's just like, it's crazy what you can do. It's like a fucking roller coaster. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy what you can do, but like, then we picked it back up. Now I'm like, I picked it back up. Now it's like, it's paying accordingly. You know what I'm saying? I'm paying accordingly. You know what I mean? So it's working. You know what I mean? But I'm also putting in a ton of fucking hours for this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm putting in a lot of time.
Put in the work.
Like a lot of time. Like this 90 days of hustle thing is fucking real. You know what I mean? I'm putting in a lot of time for this, and but it's fun though. Like if you don't enjoy it, it's like you're gonna quit.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
It's all about part of the process.
That's another thing. Yeah, that's definitely part of the process. A lot of people want to be somebody on social media, but it goes back again. Why do you want to be somebody on social media?
Right.
It's just like they say, why do you do it for, if you do it for the money, you're gonna quit because when money doesn't come, it's not there. So if you do it for the followers, because the followers are not gonna come, when they don't come, you're gonna quit. All right. So you want to build your influence on social media. Find out why you want to do that. What is the real reason behind you wanting to build some sort of influence?
Mm-hmm. And that's half the battle. Once you realize what you're good at and your purpose, the process becomes easy. It's not a process anymore. It's more of just like you're just having fun.
Yeah, and you understand that's something that you have to go through.
Right.
Okay. The process is something that people get started in the process and then they don't understand that they're halfway through it, or not halfway through, because halfway through it is being 20 years in the process. But people want to go through the process and they don't understand, when they're going through it, that this is just some shit that I gotta go through.
Yeah.
All right. When you change your perspective on the process, right, and you realize that, hey, every day that I come to work, I know that I'm pushing towards this.
Right.
Again, stuff that we talk in the course.
Right.
Have vision.
Right.
Have purpose. Have your action plan. Those are all things that have to be together. The problem is that people want to go through the process, right? But I also understand and know exactly where I am at in the process.
Right.
Okay. Having a basic understanding of I'm at beginner level process. Because look, I just can't fucking emphasize this shit enough. All right. When you get started, I'll use videography as an example. When I get started in videography, I had no idea what ISO, exposure, f-stop, any of that stuff was, right?
Yeah.
Then you learn all that shit. Let's say, that was my process. Dude, there's people right now that know all that stuff, that own a $50,000 camera, that are still going through the same process that I'm going through, because you know what? Their process is different because now they're trying to make movies. They're not trying to make Instagram bangers. And you know what the problem is? That you guys are trying to compare yourselves or say like, oh, the process is only here, the process is only there. No, the process is at all times, every time, as long as you're trying to progress.
Right.
Okay. The people that can't understand, falling in love with the process again is because they're having no progression. They're having no progression. You have to understand that the process means progress. All right. If you have progress in your life and you're moving forward and you're taking the action steps forward and you understand that that's what you're doing, inevitably, how you said, you will fall in love with it.
Right.
Because you will understand that I'm moving forward, that
Facts.
I'm taking the necessary steps to get to where I want to get to.
And the thing about it's crazy. Bring it back to the process. It's like I was just on a live earlier about this. It's like when you are in the process of building whatever it is. I think we forget we look so far ahead that we forget to congratulate ourselves on the little things that we've accomplished.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that takes
Facts.
from a psychological standpoint,
Facts.
that it kills you, because like you're we're comparing. You know what I mean? We're comparing people who've done shit for years, you know what I'm saying? And they're already at this level.
Mm-hmm.
And so once we don't reach that level, it frustrates you, and then the process becomes harder. It's no longer fun anymore. You no longer, you fall out of love with it. And that's really what happens.
Dude, something that I can vouch for, and me and T were literally just having a talk about this not even a couple minutes ago. Before we were talking about the progress and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's that I've started giving myself pats on the back weekly.
Yeah.
Fuck making $100 million that I want to make.
Facts.
You know what? I'm starting of saying this week, I'm going to finish the content that I need for my website. And when I'm done with that, that's progression. And I'm going to pat myself in the back because I got it done.
Yeah.
And you know what? Next week, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create 2 new videos for social media. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get it done. That's progression. Give myself a pat on the back because I got it done. The problem is, and you know what? This is real shit. I do the same thing, is that I've been busy so much looking at, that $100 million mark that I forget that, hey, I made $10,000 for the first time in my life, and I didn't even take the chance to pat myself in the back because I remember when I couldn't even make $100.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's like, that's something that I don't know. That's just something that I feel like take the time, start giving yourself micro wins, and you're gonna understand that you're gonna feel better. I guess the point that I want to make here is like, yeah, it does get tough in the process when you're looking so far ahead and you never take the chance to look at all the little things that you've been doing. So set little weekly goals for yourself, hit those targets every week, and give yourself a pat on the back. And yeah, you're gonna fall in love with that.
I mean, it's extremely important to have big visions and big dreams, you know what I mean? But you do need to understand that, compounding these efforts, compounding these accomplishments lead ultimately to the big accomplishment. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people don't give themselves enough credit for working their ass off. But this only applies to you if you're fucking working your ass off. If you're not working your ass off, then fuck your little accomplishment. You know what I mean? You got to be giving 110%. You know what I'm saying? You really got to be going hard like on what you want to do, and with and not making any excuses.
The problem is that people want to go to sleep before they get shit done.
Facts.
Have the get shit done mentality, all right?
Facts.
I don't leave this fucking office until whatever I set on the to-do list gets done. And most people want it. Procrastination, all right? It's like it all ties together into the process.
Facts.
Because it's part of the process. Like, you're never gonna progress if you don't give yourself shit to get done. Okay? Because when you get shit done, you know what happens? You get better, which means you make some fucking progress, which means you get ahead in the process, and that's what's gonna keep you going. That's the shit that you gotta fall in love with.
No, definitely. And once you fall in love with it, you become loyal to it, everything will change for you by default.
Dude, I like this podcast. I'm excited.
Dude, that's how that's how law of attraction works. That's how law of vibration works.
We got some questions up in here.
You're so caught up on it. Go ahead.
You got any questions over there?
No, not really. I got someone that said about like drop shipping and stuff. I'll answer that personally.
Yeah. I know a lot of people that want to see. Let's see. I have a question. Go ahead. You have a question. Go ahead. Drop the comments in there. How do you change from an employee mentality to an entrepreneur mentality? Ooh, I like that. You got that? How to change from an entrepreneurship mentality? How to change from an employee mentality to an entrepreneurship mentality?
Oh yeah, see that's a good. I'll start this one.
You want to start that one?
Yeah, basically, cool. It's pretty simple. I mean, there's nothing like crazy about it. Like you just have to read. Like, I mean, I'm gonna give you an example of what changed my mentality.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
You go ahead and then
I'll talk about what would change my mentality. I read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that's simply just after I read that book, I recommend that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. That was the first ever like personal development book I've ever read in my life. And then after I read that, I never looked at life the same. I never looked at jobs the same. I never looked at money the same. And it literally changed my life. So in short sense, you just got to find something that's going to value to you that will, and it depends. But that's for me personally, that was the thing that changed my whole outlook and perspective on, being an aspiring entrepreneur and being an employee. So I'll let you handle the rest.
All right. So how to change from an employee mindset to an entrepreneur mindset. I did read the same book that Terrell did, and it did open my eyes. Now, this is something that entrepreneurship is something that, yes, can be taught, right? Just like playing basketball can be taught, and just like playing baseball can be taught, and just like singing can be taught, right? But there's some people, T had a video that went pretty viral on this, which is some people, some of us got that shit that you can't teach. And you know what? I do believe that entrepreneurship is something that just like LeBron was born to be a basketball player, some people are born to be entrepreneurs. All right. And you have to take that into consideration. First off, when people think of entrepreneurship, you know what they think of? They think of Bill Gates and they think of Steve Jobs, and they put all these people all the way at the top. Those people were born to do that shit. All right. So I'm going to take, first off, let's take it a level down and let's compare ourselves to the entrepreneurs, which are the people that we know locally. You know, the mom and pop shop that's on the corner, you know, that can be an entrepreneur if they have 2 or 3 or 4 of them. All right. And let's say, you know, the people who owns the club over there, you know, if he has 2 or 3 of them, that can be an entrepreneur. So first off, we want to take ourselves down and go to that level and be like, okay, I can compare myself to people. What are they doing that's differently than I'm doing? Don't try to compare yourself to Bill Gates. He dropped out of Harvard. All right. He didn't drop out of a community college. Okay. That's the first. That's the first thing. That's the first thing. Okay. All right. That's so that let's take, now that we're at this level and we can compare, we're looking at people that we can compare ourselves to. Now I want to dissect more of what is an entrepreneur and what is an employee. Because if they have different mentalities, then what is the actual difference? All right. First off, I want to say, and this is why, you know, we've had our discussions about this, is we consider ourselves aspiring entrepreneurs because, one, I'm not an entrepreneur. Why? Because I work for myself. All right. I run a one-person company that is me, that if I don't work and I don't get shit done, I don't get paid. Okay. So I'm just on the same boat as a person who's an employee, just with a little bit more pressure than you have, because if I don't get shit done, I don't get paid. All right. So that's the first thing. Now, once you visualize and you understand where you are, you have to understand that there's a progress and you want to move. How do you want to move further in the process? Right. Again, going back to the process. So it's like, if I'm an employee, I can't jump from employee to entrepreneur. I can't jump from employee to investor. There's a process that goes through that you must go through. Okay. That's a process in itself, changing your mentality, changing your mindset. Nobody just changes their mindset. There could be one thing, you read a book that triggered. I read a book that triggered, but a lot of people get triggered and a lot of people never do shit about it. So what happens is, when you get that trigger and you're like, hey, I read this book. Oh, wow. I went to a network marketing conference, or I went to something that opened my eyes that says, hey, wow, I should be an entrepreneur. All right. A real entrepreneur, not a fucking sales rep, not a self-employed, an entrepreneur, a person. An entrepreneur is a person who takes above average risks to get some sort of financial gain. But more in depth than that, an entrepreneur is a person who can leave and step out of the equation, and his business will keep running and producing results at the way that it is, because he's built something so solid that he can remove himself from, and that still runs by itself. All right. So getting to that level, you have to understand that that's a process in itself. Asking the question is, it's stemming more from the root of you're looking at it from a switch. And what I want to do is get you to understand that it's not a switch, that it's a process, just changing your mentality to get there. And the first thing that you have to do is understand, okay, how can I get from an employee to at least self-employed? Right. And creating my own check. All right. At least it's on my terms now. I get to call the, I get to call the shots. I get to do what I want to do. And it's like, if you can't get to the self-employed aspect of it, you'll never reach entrepreneur status. Okay. And I don't want to go too deep in this, but it's just like, we were talking, and it's like, people who do network marketing and stuff like that, it's like, I can't consider you an entrepreneur because you're a person who, at the end of the day, your check relies on somebody else. You haven't created your own stream of income. You haven't created your own product. You haven't created your own service. An entrepreneur is somebody that sells something, right, in a cost of goods in return for money, right? And it's like, if you haven't built that yet, then you can't get there. So first off, go back. I'm an employee. Okay, what product? What can I create? I can sell myself, right? And I can move to at least that self-employed status. Once I'm there, the way that I get to entrepreneur is by, well, I got to hire somebody. I gotta have another person in the equation, and then you guys get the point from there. I mean, I could go on that topic for 5 hours, but it's like, that's the process to changing your mentality, is understanding where you're at, understanding where you need to get, and taking action on whatever it is that triggered yourself from being an employee to an entrepreneurship mentality. Keep developing yourself, keep progressing, and I promise you that you'll have that mindset. And you know what? Sometimes it's okay to also understand that, hey, maybe, just be making $100,000 a year, like as a wedding photographer, that's a self-employed person, not an entrepreneur. That makes a lot of fucking people happy, and a lot of people would live like that. And understand that whatever it is, if that's the level that you want to get, be okay with that. Stop comparing yourself to Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and start comparing yourself to the local guy and be like, okay, how can I get from there to there first? Once you're there, then you can put yourself. But again, it goes to that thing where people want to jump from here all the way over there.
And they don't want to go through the process. I mean, he explained that perfectly. I mean, I don't know. You really can't say that any better. You know what I mean? That whole mentality is definitely a process. And, you know, especially when me and DP talk and we were talking about, you know, entrepreneurship, we were talking about being an entrepreneur and then being an aspiring entrepreneur. I quickly realized that I was just an aspiring entrepreneur. I'm not really an entrepreneur yet because I have not built a foundation enough that's literally I can remove myself and it can be a functional working business. And, you know, because I still have to go out and work, get content every single day, this and this and that. So that hit home with me when he started talking about that. We had a conversation about that. I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of fucking sense, you know? And so he's talking about, you know, that process of changing from an employee to an entrepreneur. That is a long process. You know, it's definitely, it's a mental game, and there's a lot to it. And, you know, the way he explained that, I hope, you know, I can't wait for you guys to see the replay of this and really take notes on because if you really listen to what he just said, like that's a lot of gems. If you really want to change from an employee to, an entrepreneur, you know, it's definitely something that can be taught, but it's something that it's like you just have to be one. Like there's a certain level of grit and there's a certain level of confidence and a certain level of never quit mentality that will take you, you know, it will just take you to the next level.
Being an entrepreneur is like playing in the NBA at the level that you guys are putting it at.
Yeah.
All right. How many people do you know that make it to the NBA?
I know a couple.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
quite a bit of people into the league.
Just you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I guess I'll fuck with you.
Look, in baseball, they say that like it's more than likely that for you to win the lottery, and get struck by lightning than actually playing in the major leagues.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and the reason that I bring this up is because like, why it's easier to be an entrepreneur, but like. It's fucking hard. Yeah, successful. To be a successful entrepreneur, it's hard as shit to live life on your own terms, bro.
Right.
And living life on your own terms. Dude, you know what the thing is with entrepreneurs? You know what the thing is? Like, people think that entrepreneurship means that I don't do shit and I get paid.
Yeah,
you know what entrepreneurship means? It means that you work for everybody else except yourself. When you're an employee, you have one person that you report to.
Right.
When you're an entrepreneur, you run a business, you know who you report to? It's all your fucking customers.
Yeah.
And the more customers that you have, the more problems that you have. And the more shit you got to deal with, all right? Biggie said it, more money, more problems.
Facts.
Okay? that's yeah, I don't got anything else to say.
No, I mean that's valuable. That's valuable. It's valuable because like what I've learned is like even through talking with Randall, you know, and hearing him speak, I'm like, yo, like I'm not trying to build like, you know, my brand into some like multi-million-dollar brand. Like
That's
I want
crazy.
to make a couple mil, like you know, a couple mil, and I'm chilling, and then invest in real estate. You know, that's where I want my money to go. I just want to make cool clothes for people to wear, but I'm not trying to turn TW.co into a fucking multi-million-dollar fucking brand. Like, give me like 2 mil. Hey, I'm chilling. You know what I'm saying? I'm chilling. I take that bread, invest it in the real estate complexes, commercial real estate, Airbnbs. That's gonna that's gonna generate the most money with the less problems. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to deal with all these
there's only one true passive income, and it's real estate.
Yeah.
Like that's the only true passive income. And it's not that easy.
Yeah.
All right. There's a lot more people, you know, successful in real estate and stuff like that, obviously, than people that play in the leagues. But it's like you have to understand too that real estate is the only passive income, like for real, right? But you need money to get into real estate.
Right.
For real estate to build you true passive income,
You need bread.
you need a lot of fucking money. And guess what? You know what you have to do to get a lot of money? Do a lot of work.
Yeah.
Go through a lot of process. Get a lot of progress.
Yeah.
All right? So in order for you to build that passive income that so many people want in the real estate niche, you need a lot of fucking money, which means you have to do a lot of fucking work. All right, I'm done.
I mean, that's all I had on here. I don't got anybody.
Yeah.
Well, I got a dude. He asked about
What do you ask?
yard signs have been most effective. I run a gutter and home improvement company, and we're focused on advertising, getting our name out there. But advertising is our biggest struggle. That's more of like just a statement.
What? Oh, for yard sales?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Honestly, for yard sales, what I do, I go around and I'd buy information from different companies, like find a way to buy information. You can buy like email lists because it's all about data at that point. And you run the right ads and target the right people. You know, you'll be able to collect a client list very easily. It just takes time. You know what I mean? It's like we got to reach out to different companies and find out, you know, who needs yard work. I mean, that's something I know what to do. I'd have to hit up, bro, message me and I'll talk to you about that actually, because I know there's a way to get email lists. You can buy email lists for specific things, and then you can just go from there and build audiences off Facebook ads and shit off that.
You got any questions, Joffney? Huh? You got any questions? You got like 8 seconds.
8 seconds, bro. We've been on here for like an hour now. Huh?
Nah. We haven't even been. This has been the shortest one so far. We're at 46 minutes. Oh. So not that bad. We're coming up. Yeah, we're coming to the end. I know I promised you guys that we would have somebody call in, but dude, we've been so fucking busy.
Yeah, we're working on
We've been shit. Like, to be honest, we were like, oh shit, it's Thursday. We gotta do a podcast today, like 3 hours ago. Mm-hmm. And here we are getting it done, but we haven't like really had the time to prepare. But it's better to get this shit done than waiting. You know,
this is a good one too. I like.
Yeah.
See, I can't wait to see this.
See, and this is the thing too. Like, I'll be honest. Like, it started very weak. Mm-hmm. You know, I knew what I was gonna talk about, but then it like camera got rolling, and I'm like, fuck. You know, I kind of had to whatever. And then, but this is the dynamic of everything. This is the reason why we started this shit. Right. All right, because. I'm like, you look, I want people to realize that, like, dude, that is the fucking process. Yeah. That is the progress. Well, all right? Look, for all of you people watching out there, all right, go back to the beginning and see the progress from the fucking beginning of the podcast till now. All right? And look how happy I fucking feel about it at this point. And guess what? When you do that in life, all right, you're going to be pretty damn happy too. Shit.
And the best part about it is like you're gonna see like the process of this podcast from this is only episode number 3.
This is episode number 3.
I mean? Wait till number 20, number 30, number 50, number 60. Like it's gonna be like we're gonna have something in the background. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have like different things. It's just gonna get better and better and better. But this is the process that we have to go through and learn. Okay, bro. It's like we're fucking like it's like we're like the Lakers. So, you know what I'm saying? Like we take our game film, we watch it, we analyze it. All right, bet, run it. Let's do that. Let's do this better. Let's do that better.
Don't compare me to the Lakers, boy.
Oh yeah, we doing the Lakers. I mean, fuck
the Lakers.
Nah,
oh wow, they've been in the process for a very long time.
The Suns been in the process for a while. No offense, all the Suns. But on a real tip though, you guys are seeing the process. You know, like real as it gets, and you guys are gonna see how this podcast grows to thousands and thousands of people. Like right now, you guys only seeing like the bare minimum of what we're doing. But you know, with what the data that we're collecting and the ads we're gonna do, you're gonna see how this grows. That's the beauty of this is like you guys are really about to see how this podcast takes off, because like we're just getting better and better and better, and our content's gonna be better. We're gonna be getting more equipment. We're gonna get more cameras, and like so it's dope for you guys to be with us and see how this podcast grows and where it takes us, and the value that we continue to bring. And so it's a blessing. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
Yeah. So we're good. You have no questions whatsoever?
No questions. We lit. I'm hot. I'm hungry.
Yeah, it is. I am hot and I am hungry. All right, guys. So if you're watching this, we're just gonna wrap it up for this one. Mm-hmm. And just want to say, go check out the Ultimate Branding Course, yes. ultimatebrandingcourse.com. Yeah. You know, everything should be live by the time this goes up. Yeah. And, you know, just go in there, support us, check us out.
It's $25. It ain't much.
Yeah, $25.
There's a lot of videos. There's like 8 hours worth of videos. Yeah. So it's like you have to sit your ass down and fucking watch the shit. But I guarantee you, like, you'll get a lot of value from it. And if you apply what the fuck we talking about. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No questions? Couldn't think of anything? All right. Adios. Shout out to the man. We got all right, guys, thank you for tuning in. We will see you next week on the next episode, and that's it. Peace.